into the upper right, in the blue, the GSL Super Tournament Season 1 champion of 2022. Put your hands together for Dragon Phoenix Gaming's very own Zest. Oh, I wrote him as Zest, didn't I? Oops. And the bottom left, in the red for Alpha X, returned looking to shine again. He is Classic. So, what happens in this game number 1? Looks like Classic. Well, no, he's just going for 2 gate expand. Never mind. So too is Zest. So it's 2,000 atmospheres. If you're max packs, you're opening with 1 gate expand on the low ground. If you're anyone else, you're staying on the high ground. No, for sure. My middle name is not Beowulf. However, when you are talking about, a nickname you use for something, say a screen name, or in this case, a username, it's first name, username, last name. My middle name is Music, which is hilarious because I am not a good musician. Maybe if I tried, I could, but I choose to use my greatest instrument for other things, like talking about StarCraft, because that is the best way to do that. And also remembering to have my microphone on the bottom side of my mouth, so I have that more of that timbre and less nasally. The things you learn. Nice little trap there from Zest. He says, okay, I got your probe. Lesser men would steal Classic's nose. Nah, Zest, he steals the probe instead. It's even better. It's even more impactful. So Classic, though, Stargate play, name of the game. This should not surprise anyone who has watched Classic for years. He's always been a fan of this build. Now, and even coming back, he kind of reintroduced Phoenix into Charge-Lot Storm in a big way. And yes, this was something that Zest was doing kind of its last year, but it kind of fell off just a little bit. And the Classic came back and he's like, well, that sounds like a good thing. I like building Phoenix. I like dropping storms on people's heads. Seems like a good deal to me. So he did it. And actually, yeah, Classic, he's got the high ground position, though, so he gets first volley off on these Stalkers. It's going to be 1-for-1 for now, but already, Classic, we can see he's taken the minorly better trade. Right? In that, damage is done to the Stalker shields of Zest and not of Classic, which means that in a prolonged fight, Classic would win that. But then the question we need to be asking ourselves is, why does Zest care about trading 1-for-1? Isn't that just about equal? Well, not really. Because Zest has a third gateway, and he's got a Warp Prism out on the map here. Any unit that he can cut down early is a problem indeed, but he's going to be forced back home because this Oracle, it doesn't even have to do damage. It will probably eventually. But it doesn't really have to do damage because what it has done is provide a scout. That 3 gateways are on the field, and there's a Warp Prism. And B, it has forced Zest back home, which means, Zest is just best. That's all there is to say about it. He understands perfectly the fact that, okay, Classic, he's going to go to the main base directly on the first Oracle flight, which means he's going to kind of catch it. And then he knows that, okay, well, maybe the second Oracle goes to the natural. So he's going to get hull damage on that second Oracle too. And while it does not kill either of them, it makes it a little bit harder for them to do anything. As now Warp Prism is going to lead the charge here. Not exactly what you want, but it's okay because Classic doesn't target it anyways. So there are a couple ways that this game ends. Zest, he reaches critical mass. He gets too many Stalkers. He busts through the shield batteries and says, no, not a thing. The other way this ends is if Classic just gets game-ending damage done with his Oracles, where the entire mineral line of Zest gets wiped out and there's nothing you're doing about it. Neither of those seem particularly likely in this game. We have Void Ray starting to hit the field, more and more Stalkers getting warped in, but on the flip side, this Oracle, it's been warded out. 3 Stalkers are in the main, which of course is 3 less Stalkers in the push. But, it does also mean that Classic has not gotten the damage that he is looking for here. Is that okay, that's just a Stalker. Anyway, first Mortar is going to pop out just now, and Twilight is on the way for Zest. So this is the kind of the default transition out of this. When you go for 3-gate pressure and it's like, well, I'm not really breaking through. Oh, the stasis. Where's the... Oh, there's the observer. Okay. What these stasis traps do at the very least is they do force energy, or they do force target fire out of Zest, which means that maybe his classic stalkers can get an extra shot or two. But anyway, Zest, now he's just kind of sit on the edge of things, wait for this blink to be done, and then say, okay, look, you've committed so much to defending the natural that you really have. These are 3 shield batteries. There are stasis traps, everything that you could possibly want. Man, great hot pickup there from Zest as well, although he will lose something. He will lose the stalker. All the commitment to defense is in classic natural. So when blink is done for Zest here, if he blinks into the main, bypasses everything with just too many stalkers. Well, that is a problem indeed. But these oracles are going to fly out, and actually this should tell Zest. Oh, wait, no, he doesn't get it. I can say this should tell Classic that there is an observer right there that is making these stasis traps kind of get targeted down pretty quickly. But also Classic, he feels really safe now. He has his 3 gates up. His robo is just about done. He's got a lot of shield batteries as well. He feels safe enough to run the oracles on the other side of the map, which means that Zest can't say, okay, well, I'm going to move things into the main, but look at this, though. Zest running most of his army home says, yeah, 4 stalkers, that's enough to kill some probes. Let me find my way into the main base here, even before blink is done, which is such a cool move because it is counter to the idea. Doesn't get anything done. But if you have this idea that you're going for, 3-gate pressure, doesn't get anything done, that's fine. You go into blink and you go kind of kill your opponent. Well, if you move in earlier, and because Classic is aware of this now, it's something that's happened a couple times, maybe you catch him off guard. Maybe you get game-ending damage. But that, of course, has not happened. Zest only just now taking his natural. He's down a lot of workers. And I'm not convinced that Classic is going to be broken at this point, even with effectively 2 blinks with the Warp Prism and the Stalkers. It is so gosh darn hard here with the Immortals as well moving in. Classic's not really losing anything, and that's the big deal. He's lost 5 stalkers, Zest has lost 3, sure, but now the Oracles into the natural. They're going to get 3 probes of their own. Even if one does go down, that is still economic damage that realistically Zest cannot afford to take because he was on 1 base for so long. That makes life rather hard indeed with these shield batteries here as well. The Warp Prism has to be very careful. He's not going to get much. He gets a couple workers, but really not anything that balances out the balance of power in this game. But I love this actually from Zest. He has distracted Classic enough that maybe he's got that blink in the main, but it looks like the answer is no. Yes, Mooney, you are correct. Zest is in fact best. And I was talking about how Hero is my dark horse round of 4 pick. I'm going to say something slightly controversial. I think Zest wins Katowice this year. Silence the balance whiners and wins his last tournament before military in one fell stroke because he has been looking so good. In fact, recently, he supplanted Hero Marine for most EPT Cup victories. He won GSL Super Tournament. I mean, he is looking really, really good here as he tries to knock Classic down from taking that 3rd base. Classic just microing forward saying, look, I don't have blink, but at least I can do something here. But Zest just has too much, at least it looks like for now. No static defense, no blink done for Classic. The Immortal has been totally segmented out, and what a disaster of a fight it was for Classic. Yeah, he's got defender's advantage, but it doesn't matter. This 3rd base is not going to be allowed to stay up, at least not for now. The flank coming on in as well. Yeah, blink is done in 12 seconds, but Zest says, no, I'm going to blink on top of the Immortals, immediately knocking them down. 3rd base not allowed to survive. And Classic, he is knocked back down to 2 bases from that supply lead. Is a supply deficit, and I don't know how Zest did it, but he found the engagement he needed. Classic just got a little bit too greedy, and now Classic's back down to 2 bases. He's going to be down an upgrade. Charge is going to be a problem here. The Stalkers, they will blink on top of the Warp Prism, though, and they're going to knock down 2 Stalkers in the Warp Prism. That's something that buys Classic time, and of course, with the shield batteries, I mean, you never underestimate shield batteries, but there we go. Stalkers just blink on top of the overcharge. Only one has energy left into it. Stalkers just forced to fight a battle of retreat. And now, of course, with the sentry there as well. Warp Prism, you got to be careful. Zest may just blink on the top of that one as well, but no. He says, oh, that's fine. I've equalized things. Let's wait for another Warp in. Let's wait for another Warp Prism. It's fine. So what does Classic do in exchange? He says, well, you know, I got something. I got a Void Ray. Maybe I can depower something. I don't know. But one Void Ray does not change this game. Now +1 is done. I kind of keep expecting Zest to just blink on top of this, but he doesn't quite have enough Stalkers for that to happen. So, you know, Void Ray, I believe it died. Yes, the Void Ray is now dead. Which means Zest can link his entire army up together. Classic has no counterattack potential right now. Does not even have charge. And now with Zest rocking a 31 army supply lead. Again, this game that was looking pretty good for Classic. He had his natural defended. He was getting into his tech. He had a big worker lead. Well, he still has a somewhat significant worker lead, but Zest is at 75 army supply to 47. He has +1. He just has so many Stalkers, and with charge, these Immortals are not going to have a nice time either. Actually, one is just going to go down pretty much immediately. Zest blinks on top of it. Second one gets just rally fired down, volley fired down. The Zealots on the flank. GG. Zest is best. And he takes game number 1. Holy hell, man. Zest is just good. So game number 1, we saw Zest go for a 3-8, and the first attempt didn't really work. He didn't get much damage, and even the Blink Edition didn't do much. But instead of trying to really transition out of it really hard, get a quick third, do something like that, he says, no. I'm just going to build a lot of Stalkers, and Classic, you're going to greed one too many times. And then I'm going to kill you. As the Taco Lord's SC2 says, yeah, Zest is just super decisive. That is true. Zest, he's not the most innovative with his builds all the time. I mean, he'll just kind of set the meta for a long... He'll come up with a new build, set the meta, and then just do it until it's bad, and then have to come up with something else. But what he does have is just a tremendous knowledge of what levers to push in this game. As we got a proxy gateway coming down. Okay, so Zest, it's a 3-gate idea once again. This time, though, it's going to hit a lot faster. We're not going to wait for a robo. It's just 3 gateways on the field. And I feel like this is just the most common proxy position, but it's not one that anyone ever scouts, so. Also, yeah, again, welcome to Taco Lord SC2. Hope you're having a wonderful evening. I mean, it's Zest versus Classic. I'm sorry. There's nothing better. Although, at least the Mario Classic series for GSL Super Tournament quals was really good, too. Anyways, the army of Zest now running out on the map. Zest, well, I said this map was going to go long because, you know, it's Glaring Ashes, and that tends to happen, but if Zest has his druthers, it's not going to last very long at all here. First couple Stalkers are going to go poking, and Classic with the rescout. Actually, yeah, he's just looking... Is he looking... Not looking for a third. You don't take a third at this point anyways, but he will have a rescout on the natural. He's going to say, hey, Zest, you don't have anything here. There is nothing in your natural. In fact, nothing in your main either. No robo. Zest will go for that third bait, or excuse me, that natural now. But it's not quite a fake. I think he's probably going to keep it. But it is something that is going to be very late. So Zest does have to find some value here. Notice every time he pokes it, he's trying to get damage done on the shield battery. Just a little bit. So eventually he can kind of commit to it. That makes something happen. He has already drained the energy from that shield battery. Now with the second shield battery up, shield batteries kind of support themselves. So it's a little bit harder to knock the shield battery down. But your end goal then really is Sentry's going to try to do something, but it's just going to get target fired down. 1 sentry goes down, 2 sentries go down, 3rd sentry go down, and actually these Stalkers are going to start to go down too. The Classic is just not in a great spot, but Immortals are out. Because we saw that the natural was a little bit slow, although he will overcommit here, almost lose that Stalker. With Immortals out though, even if shield battery overcharge is done, it's not going to do too much. But this is cool. Hey, the Taco Lord, thank you so much for the follow. Glad you're here. But this is cool. We got 3-gate, right? Wait. I love Classic sometimes. He got a pylon in the main. He's going to warp a couple of depths and he's going to force the recall on home. This is the pressure relief valve. This is so cool. But anyways, Zest has put on a lot of pressure on the map, right? 3-gate, all at the front. That's all that Classic's looking for. In fact, he's going to send a lot of his army out on the map now to go try to clear this gateway away. Meanwhile, there's an Oracle being chronoed out. It's going to dive into the main base, and what do we have? Actually, nothing. Yes, there are 3 gates for Classic now. but he has literally 0 anti-air in the main, minimal anti-air in general. It's 2 Stalkers. Honestly, these Stalkers are low enough that without a shield battery, the Oracle can probably kill it. And even better, I mean, Zest is pulling this. He's going to go up to 2 Oracles, which means just, well, probes get 1-tapped. You can kill things through shield batteries. And Classic has not built that many Stalkers. He only has 4. 4 Stalkers do not defend 2 mineral lines all that well. So now Zest's going to look to dive on into the naked main. And what can Classic do? How quick is his pull going to be here? Actually, pretty damn nice. But still, 4 workers go down in the blink of an eye. And that is just the start here. 4 Stalkers, honestly, not even really enough to scare the Oracles away. 9 workers have died. Zest finds himself in a worker lead once again. And again, his early pressure doesn't do much, but it does enough. 11 workers have died. And both Oracles stay alive. Remember in the Classic Creator Series? Classic did something similar in terms of, proxying an Oracle, but he lost his Oracles. He lost one. He just was not able to find nearly as much value in the game against Zest. In game 1, his Oracles did not find nearly the same amount of stuff. But in this game, Zest is now up 7 workers. He's going to find the Warp Prism of Classic that's trying to find value. And in general, he's just getting stymied at every turn, even as, of course, this gateway is finally going to be depowered. Yeah, this is just getting nothing done. The Oracles are going to follow it, make it sad, make it run away. And Zest, I think, is just going to run across the map again. Now, Blink is a ways off. And +1 is just a fever dream. But we might see him, say, try to delay this third. Of course, it's glittering. Running across the map is kind of a fool's errand for a while until you, say, until you take all these bases. You take this base as your third, then your fourth, and then maybe when you try to take the fifth. And that really, this base is what starts to break opponents. Because it's just so far away from the third base, from the natural. It's kind of hard. But now the Oracles, again, they're going to dive in. And again, no shield batteries. Not that it truly matters because Oracle's one-shot. Stalker's just barely out of position, but 3 more do go down. And Zest does have his blink done, so maybe that's the pressure he's going to be looking for. I kind of love this, though. We see Immortals out on the map, and how often do you see just Immortals randomly on the map dealing with proxy structures? You really don't. So, because you're just too worried about losing them. There are, what is it, 250 minerals, 125 gas, or 100 gas, something like that, and they're force supply. They're expensive, both in terms of supply and money. So you don't want to lose them. And an unsupported Immortal really is a dead Immortal. Anyway. I love this, though. This Immortal, it doesn't have any kills to its name, but, Actually, apparently, this is the one that's killed all the structures. But we are going to start to see just all the proxies that Zest has on the field. They're gone now, so a little bit less map control, technically, but on the flip side, he's got a fairly nice army. His +1 is just about done. Charge is going to be up at the same time, and I don't know that Zest can do the same thing to Classic that he did in that previous game, where he just said, well, I got stuff, and I'm not afraid to use it. To paraphrase Pig, swing his something around. But now this Adept's going to find his way into the natural, but there's a shield battery. These Adepts do not kill. You don't kill probes off of 1 Adept. Not really, not easily. 2, though, they can do a lot. Luckily, Zest was able to kill 1. So 4th base on the way on. It's a PvP. It's a gentleman's agreement. Both players saying, yeah, okay, I can't break you, but that's fine because I'm going to expand and maybe I'm going to find an advantage somewhere. And while Classic has found a bit of an income advantage here, he's up a couple workers. He's macroed his way out of this. He took his 3rd base a lot faster. Now, of course, downsides, his upgrades, very delayed. I don't even know. Yeah, no forge. And he's actually only on 3 gas here, so he may be kind of angling. I think we saw him go up. Yeah, we saw him go up to 8 gateways. He may be just angling for a big charge lot swarm, kind of like what he did to Creator in that previous series, where he says, yeah, I got a 3rd base, but it's really only for minerals. It's just to power my gateways to make things happen here. Now, Zealots find their way on into the natural of Zest, finding damage there. Of course, the Oracles as well. 6 probes to their name, and somehow these Zealots get nothing done. Shield battery overcharge is really good. And these force fields, oh man, these force fields, they are killing it here for Zest in this game. He just really is not allowing Classic to do anything. while just getting drifts and drabs of damage. And he's on 62 workers. He's got his fourth base done. And Classic, yeah, there we go. Some sentries, some stalkers, a bunch of immortals here. Classic just looking to haymaker. One great big punch to the face of Zest and knock him out of this game. Now he's up 9 army supply, and the big thing, he's got a lot of immortals here. Even if the upgrades are not great, well, immortals are, and now the stalkers. Is this going to be a flank, or is he going to try to recall? Oh, he's going to get some High Templar as well here. So the Archons that Zest is looking for, not really going to be a thing. He's only got one for now. And the Stalkers, they're going to blink on top of that, try to get it down immediately. But the Stalkers from the backside, maybe they're going to get the War Prism? Is that what he's going for? I don't know, but he will trigger some of the hardened shields here. Classic has found his way on into the natural. The Archons are going down. Stalkers, though, they blink on top of the Immortals. One goes down, two go down. Zest patiently looking for the hardened shields to die, but even still, Classic, he has found his opening in Classic form, in Classic style, and now the natural is being ravaged. Stalkers blink forward once again, trying to knock down this War Prism, but that will be unsuccessful, and the army is falling. Yes, Classic has lost some of the tech of this army, but he has annihilated the army itself. He's annihilated the economy. And even as he's down up, well, actually, with +2, maybe this is going to be enough for Zest to hold here. And in fact, it will be. With the War Prism going down, Zest has Defender's advantage. He has 2 upgrades. And suddenly, Zest loses every worker in his natural, which honestly is kind of fine because he was doing damage on the other side with his oracles as well. So worker counts are even, army supply is even, and Zest has Archons. Zest has 2 upgrades in the lead. And instead of being here saying, wow, I'm so excited for game number 3, that push from Classic did not do enough. Now it's Zest's turn to be aggressive on the map here. Now, of course, it's just a Stalker hit squad. It shouldn't get too much done here, even with this upgrade lead. But it's to poke. It's to scout. It says, hey, Classic, where are you? And while we wait for things to start, I love what Classic's done here. Because we're in the type of the game, part of game where charge lots are a thing. And this pylon positioning is actually going to do a really good job of eating so many charges from Zest. It's going to make it really hard to push into that position. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't end the game, but it is a cool little move that I don't know how impactful it's actually going to be. Now, Zest is going to lose a couple workers. The warping is going to be nice, and certainly Classic is just doing whatever he can to try to just take the pressure from Zest away from him. But Zest still is up a base. You know, he's still up tech, he's still up upgrades. And even as the army supply is a little bit better here for Classic, excuse me, not for much longer, because Zest blinks on top of the War Prism, knocks that one down. The Archons, they're getting concave, they're going down. GG Zest again takes down Classic. And he moves on to the semifinals for a date with Nice or Ragnarok.